Let me share something very honest with you. Most of us don't fail because we lack talent, intelligence, or opportunities. We fail because we make promises that are too big for our consistency to handle at the start of every year, every month. Sometimes even every Monday, we decide to completely change our lives. We say things like, from tomorrow, everything will be different. But human nature doesn't work that way. Real change does not happen in dramatic moments. It happens quietly, slowly, and repeatedly. Small steps are more powerful than big promises because small steps respect reality. A big promise sounds inspiring, but it often ignores who we really are on an ordinary day. Big promises demand sudden discipline, extreme motivation, and perfect conditions. And life rarely gives us perfect conditions. There will be tired days, stressful days, boring days, and emotionally heavy days. On those days, big promises collapse, but small steps survive. Think about it. If I promise myself that I will exercise for 2 hours every day, it sounds impressive. I feel proud while making that promise. But what happens on the third day when I am exhausted, busy, or demotivated? The promise breaks, and with it, my confidence breaks too. Now compare that with a small step, just 10 minutes of movement. 10 minutes feels manageable. Even on the worst day, you can still show up. And when you show up, something very powerful happens. You prove to yourself that you are reliable. Small steps build trust with yourself. Every time you keep a small promise, your self-respect grows. You start believing, if I say I'll do something, I actually do it. That belief is far more valuable than temporary motivation. Big promises, when broken repeatedly, teach the opposite lesson. I cannot rely on myself. Over time, that belief quietly destroys confidence. We often underestimate small actions because they don't give instant results. We live in a world of fast rewards, instant likes, and quick success stories. So when we take a small step and don't see immediate change, we assume it's useless. But small steps work like compound interest. You don't notice the growth at first, but one day you look back and realize you are in a completely different place. A small step doesn't shock your system, it trains it. When change is gentle, the mind does not resist. The mind fears drastic change because it feels unsafe. That's why we procrastinate when goals feel too big. Small steps feel safe. They tell your mind, relax, we're not changing everything today. And when the mind relaxes, consistency becomes possible. Another reason small steps are powerful is because they remove the fear of failure. When the goal is too big, failure feels heavy and personal. Missing one day feels like everything is ruined. But with small steps, even if you miss a day, the damage is minimal. You can restart easily. There is no guilt, no self-criticism, no dramatic inner dialogue. You simply continue. Small steps also create momentum. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you wait for motivation to make a big change, you wait forever. But when you take a small action, your energy slowly rises. One small win leads to another. One completed step creates confidence. Confidence creates enthusiasm. And enthusiasm makes the next step easier. Let me tell you something important. Life does not reward intensity, it rewards consistency. You don't need one perfect day. You need many ordinary days where you do a little bit, again and again. Even the tallest mountains are climbed one step at a time. No one jumps to the top. Small steps also allow growth without burnout. Big promises often push us into extremes, working too hard, sacrificing balance, ignoring mental health. We go all in, and then we crash. Small steps keep you grounded. They allow you to grow while still enjoying life, relationships, and peace of mind. Progress should feel sustainable, not suffocating. And here is the most beautiful part: small steps change your identity. When you repeatedly take small actions, you don't just achieve goals, you become a different person. You don't just read books, you become a reader. You don't just exercise, you become someone who values health. Identity change is slow, but it is permanent. So don't promise yourself the moon. Promise yourself effort. Promise yourself presence. Promise yourself one small step today. Because when you choose small steps over big promises, you are choosing progress over pressure, growth over guilt, and reality over fantasy. Remember, this greatness is not created in moments of excitement. It is created in moments of consistency, and consistency is born from small steps taken with sincerity every single day. Let me tell you something that quietly holds many people back, even the most talented ones. It's not laziness, it's not lack of opportunity, it's the obsession with perfection. We tell ourselves, if I can't do it perfectly, there's no point in doing it at all. And without realizing it, we turn growth into pressure and learning into fear. Perfection sounds noble, but in reality, it is exhausting. It creates unrealistic standards and impossible expectations. When we focus only on perfection, every small mistake feels like a failure. Every delay feels like proof that we are not good enough. And slowly, we stop trying, not because we don't care, but because we care too much. Progress, on the other hand, is gentle. Progress understands that growth is messy. Progress allows room for mistakes, pauses, and imperfect efforts. When you focus on progress, you stop asking, did I do it perfectly? And start asking, did I move forward, even a little? That shift changes everything. Think about how a child learns to walk. They don't wait until they can walk perfectly before taking a step. They fall, they wobble, they stumble, and yet we clap for them. We celebrate their effort, not their perfection. Somewhere along the way, as adults, we forget this kindness toward ourselves. We expect flawless performance from the very first step. When perfection becomes the goal, procrastination becomes the result. We delay starting because we want the timing to be right, the plan to be flawless, and the conditions to be ideal. But ideal conditions are rare. Life is always imperfect. Waiting for perfection often means waiting forever. Progress teaches us to start before we are ready. It tells us that clarity comes from action, not thinking. You don't become confident and then take action. You take action and confidence follows. Even imperfect action is powerful because it creates feedback. It shows you what works and what doesn't. Without action, there is no learning. Perfection also creates a harsh inner voice. Every mistake becomes self-criticism. I should have done better. I always mess things up. Others are ahead of me. This voice drains energy and kills joy. Progress replaces that voice with compassion. It says, I'm learning. I'm improving. I'm not there yet, but I'm on the way. When you focus on progress, failure loses its sting. Failure becomes information, not identity. You stop labeling yourself as a failure and start seeing failure as part of the process. This mindset makes you resilient. You fall, you adjust, and you continue. You don't quit just because things didn't go perfectly. Another important truth is that perfection is often invisible. People admire results, not the flawless process behind them. The successful people you look up to did not reach where they are through perfect decisions. They reached there through repeated attempts, corrections, and growth. You just see the highlight reel, not the countless imperfect days that built it. Progress also keeps you consistent. Perfection demands too much energy too quickly. It leads to burnout. Progress allows sustainable growth. You show up even on low energy days. You do what you can, not what is ideal. And that consistency over time creates extraordinary results. When you choose progress, you allow yourself to evolve. You accept that today's version of you is not the final version. This removes pressure and creates curiosity. You become open to learning instead of obsessed with proving yourself. Growth becomes exciting instead of frightening. Let me say this clearly: perfection is static, but progress is alive. Perfection freezes you in fear of mistakes. Progress moves you forward despite them. Life rewards those who keep moving, not those who wait to be flawless. So be kind to yourself. Celebrate small improvements. Appreciate effort. Show up imperfectly. Some days you will move fast, some days slow, and some days barely at all. But as long as you are moving forward, you are winning. At the end of the year, you won't remember how perfect you were. You will remember how much you grew. And growth, not perfection, is what truly changes lives. Let's understand something very clearly: motivation is a beautiful feeling, but it is a very unreliable partner. It comes suddenly, makes you feel powerful, and then disappears just as quickly. One day you wake up inspired, ready to conquer the world, and the next day you struggle to even begin. If your growth depends only on motivation, your progress will always be temporary. Habits, on the other hand, are quiet and powerful. They don't need excitement. They don't need inspiration. They simply work in the background, shaping your life without asking how you feel today. Motivation is like a spark. Habits are like a system. A spark can start a fire, but only a system keeps it burning. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. But successful people understand a simple truth: action creates motivation, not the other way around. When something becomes a habit, you no longer negotiate with yourself. You don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this today?" You just do it, the same way you brush your teeth without needing a motivational speech. Habits remove emotional decision making. Every day your mind is tired from making choices: what to do, when to do it, how to do it. This is called decision fatigue. Motivation fails when the mind is exhausted. Habits solve this problem by turning important actions into automatic behavior. Less thinking, less resistance, more consistency. Think about the things you do daily without effort: checking your phone, scrolling, reacting emotionally, delaying tasks. You didn't build these behaviors with motivation. You built them through repetition. In the same way, you can build positive habits through small, repeated actions. Over time, what once felt difficult starts feeling normal. Motivation depends on mood, and mood depends on many things outside your control: sleep, stress, people, circumstances. Habits are internal. They stay with you even when life is chaotic. On days when you feel low, habits carry you forward when motivation disappears. Another powerful thing about habits is that they shape your identity. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Goals are something you want to achieve. Habits are something you become. When you repeatedly act in a certain way, your brain starts to see that behavior as part of who you are. Habits also protect you from self-sabotage. When motivation is high, we often overdo things. We push too hard, set unrealistic targets, and burn out. Habits keep you grounded. They focus on what you can do consistently rather than what looks impressive. People often say, "I'll start when I feel motivated." But that day rarely comes. Motivation usually shows up after you start, not before. Even 5 minutes of action can change your emotional state. The hardest part is not the work itself, it is overcoming the initial resistance. Habits reduce that resistance because the starting point becomes familiar. Habits don't require perfection, they only require repetition. You don't need to do everything right, you just need to keep showing up. Missing one day doesn't break a habit, quitting does. When habits are your foundation, setbacks become temporary, not permanent. Over time, habits compound. A small habit may feel insignificant today, but over months and years, it transforms your life. Reading a few pages daily builds knowledge. Saving a little regularly builds security. Practicing calm responses builds emotional strength. These changes don't feel dramatic, but they are deeply powerful. Motivation makes you feel good for a moment. Habits build results that last. Motivation is emotional, habits are structural. When motivation fades, habits remain. And in those ordinary, unexciting days, when nothing feels special, that's when habits do their most important work. So don't wait to feel inspired. Design habits that support the life you want. Start small, repeat daily, and trust the process. Because in the long run, it is not what you feel like doing that shapes your future. It is what you do consistently, whether you feel like it or not. Most people believe that success is created in big moments. On the day you feel highly motivated, on the day you make an important decision, or on the day something extraordinary happens. But the truth is much quieter than that. Life is mostly made up of ordinary days, days where nothing special happens, days that feel repetitive, boring, and unnoticed. And it is exactly on those days that your future is being built. What you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally because your daily actions shape your direction. A powerful action done once can feel inspiring, but it doesn't change your trajectory. Direction is changed by repeated behavior. If you do something once, it is an event. If you do it daily, it becomes your identity. Occasional effort gives occasional results. Daily effort gives predictable results. You may attend one seminar and feel inspired, but inspiration fades. You may read one powerful book and feel awakened, but that feeling passes. What remains is what you practice every day after the excitement is gone. Daily actions may feel small, but they accumulate. Just like drops of water can carve a rock over time, small daily habits slowly shape your character, your skills, and your mindset. You don't suddenly become disciplined, confident, or skilled. You become those things by showing up repeatedly, even when no one is watching. On ordinary days, there is no applause, no recognition, no external validation, And that is why they are so important. They teach you self-discipline without rewards. They teach you to act based on values, not emotions. When you learn to do the right thing on a normal day, you become unstoppable on important days. Occasional actions often depend on mood. When you feel good, you perform well. When you don't, you stop. Daily actions build emotional independence. They teach you to move forward regardless of how you feel. This is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Professionals don't wait for the right mood. They rely on routine. There is also a hidden danger in occasional effort. It creates false confidence. You work hard one day, feel proud, and then relax for many days. This cycle gives the illusion of effort without real progress. Daily consistency removes that illusion. It may not feel exciting, but it produces real change. What you do daily also shapes how you think. Repeated actions strengthen certain neural pathways in the brain. Over time, your behavior becomes automatic. This is why daily habits are so powerful. They rewire your mind without force. Occasional actions don't have enough repetition to create lasting change. Another important point is that daily actions lower the pressure of success. When you focus on doing a little every day, you stop obsessing over outcomes. You stop asking, when will I succeed? And start asking, did I show up today? This shift reduces anxiety and increases peace. Progress becomes a process, not a burden. Life doesn't test you on your best days. It tests you on your worst ones. Anyone can work hard when they feel energetic and inspired. But can you take one small positive action when you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged? That is where growth truly happens. Daily effort also builds self-respect. Every time you honor your commitment to yourself, even in a small way, you strengthen your inner confidence. You begin to trust yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of all long-term success. Occasional success can impress others. Daily discipline transforms you. The person you become through daily actions is far more valuable than any temporary achievement. Your character is not built in intense moments, it is built in routine moments. So don't underestimate the power of today just because it feels ordinary. Today is not neutral, it is either moving you closer to the life you want or further away from it. What you do today and tomorrow and the day after that is quietly deciding your future. In the end, success is not about doing something extraordinary once. It is about doing something meaningful consistently. Ordinary days, lived with intention, create extraordinary lives. Let's talk about discipline, because discipline is often misunderstood. Many people think discipline is punishment. They think it means forcing yourself to do things you hate, living a restricted life, or being extremely strict with yourself. But real discipline is none of that. Real discipline is self-respect in action. It is the way you treat yourself when no one else is watching. When you respect someone, you don't break promises made to them. You don't casually disappoint them. You consider their future and act responsibly. Discipline is doing the same thing for yourself. Every time you keep a commitment to yourself, you are telling yourself, I matter, my future matters. Lack of discipline is not a character flaw, it is often a self-respect issue. When you constantly delay important tasks, ignore your health, or give in to short-term pleasure, you are not being lazy, you are choosing short-term comfort over long-term care. And over time, That choice quietly damages your confidence. Discipline is not about motivation or mood. It is about values. You may not feel like doing something, but you do it because it aligns with who you want to become. This is self respect. You don't wait for emotions to decide your actions. You decide first, and emotions follow later. Think about how you treat people you respect deeply. You show up on time, you listen carefully. You don't make excuses. Now imagine treating yourself with the same seriousness. Discipline is not harsh, it is caring. It says, I won't let temporary feelings ruin my long-term goals. Many people avoid discipline because they think it will make life boring or joyless. In reality, discipline creates freedom. When you are disciplined with your time, you have more time. When you are disciplined with money, you have peace. When you are disciplined with health, you have energy. Lack of discipline creates chaos. Discipline creates stability. Another important aspect of discipline is honesty with yourself. Self-respect means acknowledging reality. It means admitting when something is harming you and choosing better, even when it's uncomfortable. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about alignment between your actions and your intentions. Discipline also builds confidence in a very quiet way. Confidence does not come from words or affirmations. It comes from evidence. Every disciplined action becomes proof that you can rely on yourself. Over time, that evidence accumulates and self-doubt starts to fade. When discipline is missing, life becomes reactive. You respond to cravings, distractions, and emotions instead of choosing consciously. This leads to regret. Discipline brings control back into your hands. It gives you the power to pause, choose wisely, and act with intention. It's important to understand that discipline grows gradually. You don't become disciplined overnight. It starts with small commitments, showing up when it's inconvenient, finishing what you start, saying no when something doesn't serve you. Each small act strengthens your self-respect muscle. Discipline is also an act of self-love. Love is not just comfort, it is guidance. A loving parent doesn't give a child everything they want. They give what the child needs. Discipline is you being a loving guide to yourself, protecting your future from your present impulses. Life will always offer easy options. Discipline helps you choose the right ones. It helps you say no to distractions and yes to growth. Not because you are forcing yourself, but because you value yourself too much to settle. In the end, discipline is not about controlling your life, it is about honoring it. When you live with discipline, you live with dignity. You stand taller, speak with confidence, and move forward without constant regret, because you know deep inside that you are doing your best for yourself, and that is what true self-respect looks like in action.